Why should we have weekly meetings?
Well, as we've said all along, it helps to improve our communication, not just about what's going on with us during the week and the topics that we just talked about, but developing the skills of asking for what you want, feel, and need, as well as listening with the intent for the other person. So I do think it helps to improve communication. It can help with conflict resolution and maybe even prevention because we're openly communicating about what's going on. And as we've said, the shared goals and planning help us to be on the same page and be in sync. I oftentimes ask my couples to spend 30 minutes a day in talking about things other than the 3 Ps: priorities, parenting, and problems. And sharing goals can be a great way, and planning for that can be a great way to be in communication and conversation
I
about
still
that.
might not spend $500 without checking with you, simply out of
Mhm.
respect, just
Right.
to show respect. Hey, babe, I'm gonna buy this, and I just want to let you know. Again, I'm not asking permission. You
Mhm.
don't need permission from me to buy anything because I mean you work hard as I do. But again, it's more about the respect for Team Jacobus that would cause
Mhm.
us to do that. And I think that's why this is so important. Hey there, gang. It's Jim
And Christy.
Jacobus with your Marriage Matters podcast of the week, and babe, well, should we tell everybody we're not at home right now? I mean, if you
Right.
look at the backgrounds here, you might be able to figure out that we are in our RV. And babe, we're back on the road again.
Exactly. And one of the things we've said before is this gives us an opportunity to be in a different type of partnership. And it's amazing how we've gone right back into the patterns and habits
Yeah,
that we have when we have to travel. And it's really a great time to reconnect and do all the fun things that we enjoy about being in an RV. So exciting.
absolutely. Yep. And so, gang, we're actually on a fantasy RV tour of the heart of Texas. And you might go, well, why in the world are the Jacobuses, who are both Texas born and bred, going on a tour of Texas? And the reality is there are so many things on this tour, babe, that you and I have not seen, we have not done, even though we've
Mhm.
gone to every place that's on the tour. There's tons of stuff we haven't even seen and done yet. So,
Yeah. So we're really excited. So
yep,
yay.
yep. You don't sound very excited.
Oh, I'm excited. Woo.
Woo!
It's
All
early in
right,
the
well, gang,
morning.
so it isn't, unfortunately. So, gang, one of the things we wanted to do this week is we're starting a series on healthy marriage habits, and one of our favorite habits is the habit of having a weekly meeting. And babe, I titled this "One Habit That Can Change Everything," and I would say, from my perspective, that it absolutely has. It's changed a lot of things for us. Would you? Uh, I mean,
Mhm.
you can disagree if you want to, if you're in a disagreeable mood, but
No, I think it's one of the things that when we decided to do it, I wanted to role model it and see what the challenges are because I do
yeah,
suggest for people to have these weekly meetings. Some people need to have it even more frequently. And the other thing that's I think important about this is to write the things down. So
yeah,
you have not only a written record of it so you can look back on it, but it also makes writing those goals down more able to be seen and recognized. So, yeah,
yeah.
not only have a weekly meeting, but document the weekly meeting as well.
Yeah, and again, gang, that's part of the deal. Is that's one of your learning styles, babe, is to write things down. You remember stuff better. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, again, we really encourage you guys to do this. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk to why should you do these things, what are the benefits of it all, and we're going to give you the agenda that we use every week. Now, this is not a complete agenda. If we were maybe 30 years ago and we had Jason in the house, as a 10-year-old or something like that, we might do it differently. But this is ours. So add to or take away from this whatever you want to. And babe, I put this in here. This has not been a part of our agenda in the past. All right. But gang, hopefully if we've done anything, Christy and I have shared with you that we are a work in progress. We are always trying to get better. We're always learning. We're always wanting to improve our marriage. And so we were listening, babe, to a chapter of Paul Tripp's book the other day where he talked about the importance of prayer. And you and I pray every morning to start our day off, but we hadn't gotten in the habit of praying like to start off our weekly meeting.
Right. And I do think it sets the tone and it gets us in the right framework. So I
Yeah,
think it's something we haven't been doing, but I'm excited about the prospect of adding it to our weekly
absolutely.
meetings.
Yeah,
So
for sure, for sure. So, agenda item number one, babe, I'm gonna let you take this one. I know it's one of your favorites. So,
I think it's one of those things that you check in with the other person to see how we're doing, not just as a couple, but how we're doing individually. Like recently, you haven't felt well. So, want to check in with you and see, how you're doing, how that's impacting things, how we're doing as a couple, anything that are going on that we want to just check in with the other person emotionally, or are there things that we want to be aware of and cognizant
yeah.
of?
And then sometimes I'm asking you how you doing with your mom and dad, what's going on there, because
Mhm.
there's challenges from time to time. How are we again? How are we doing? Um, and again, this is one of those kinds of things where this is not an opportunity for us to gripe or complain with each other. It's just an opportunity for say, hey, look, I'm feeling a little left out. I'm feeling a little unsupported, whatever it is. But and again, we'll share with you later on. One of the benefits of this is kind of getting ahead of any problems that we might have. So, agenda
Mhm.
item number one is how are we doing? That means how's Christy doing? How am I doing? How is Team Jacobus doing? Number two is an important critical item for all couples is this week's finances. And we talk about how are we doing? How are our bank accounts? Do we have any payments coming up? Do we have, what's going on financially? And babe, I'm thinking this might be a good area for us to grow in, maybe discussing more of a budget.
Mhm.
Maybe even something we could do while we're on the road. What's our budget? How are things going? How are we meeting our budget?
Mhm.
But again, I think talking about finances in advance and so there's no surprises from one week to the next can solve a lot of problems for couples.
Right. And one of the things as we've documented it and looked back on it, it can give you a really good sense of budget items, because one of the
Yeah,
things about planning a budget or sticking to a budget is seeing the shortfalls and everything. So we're on the same page. A lot of times people try and say, well, I don't want to admit, I heard this yesterday, I don't want to admit how much money I spend on Amazon. Well, that's one of the things that, unless you have totally independent bank accounts, that's probably not something that's a good idea if you share finances and resources. So,
yeah.
anyway, it's
And
good.
and one of the things too, babe, is that we believe in total transparency. We have all of our bank accounts are totally available for either one of us to look at anytime we want to. If
Mhm,
we were going to spend a large amount of money, we would certainly want to check in with each other. There's just a
mhm,
lot of good financial habits I think couples can get into here that are
mhm,
strategic and tactical. But what I like about it all is the whole transparency thing. Is look, I'm not going to hold anything back from you. You're not going to hold anything back from me, and we're going to discuss these things openly. And
mhm,
again, I think that is one of the most important things about this meeting is
mhm.
that it helps us develop trust in each other, and
Right.
that we're sharing everything, we're being open about it.
Right. And we brought up also the question we used to ask with the Nearlywed Game about what's the amount of money by which you'd have to check in with your spouse. And it's not because I'm asking permission. It's like you said, it's transparency, it's being aware. We had one of the couples on that say, or one of the females of the couple say, she thought at $10,000 she needs to check in with her spouse. And I thought, I would love to have that kind of resources that I wouldn't have to worry about it. And then we've had couples who said, even filling up with a tank of gas, they might want to check in with their spouse. So,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
it's
depending upon
important,
the season of life you're in. Yeah,
right? So it's important that you're aware and you know what's going on with, especially anything that's joint. So yeah.
yeah, and we also talk about this with couples too, babe. Let's say that our number was $500 or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I still might not spend $500 without checking with you, simply out of
Hmm.
respect, just to
Right.
just to show respect. Hey, babe, I'm gonna buy this, and I just want to let you know. Again, I'm not asking permission. You
Hmm.
don't need permission from me to buy anything because I mean you work hard as I do. But again, it's more about the respect for Team Jacobus that would cause
Hmm.
us to do that. And I think that's why this is so important. So,
So
and
true.
again, critical subject for all couples and everything is finances. If we're talking about it on a weekly basis, there's less surprises. And again, I love the respect aspect. So,
It's so
all right,
true.
number three.
What are our schedules for this week? What's coming up? And I love how you've added a cleaning schedule. So you can get on with, the roles and responsibilities, but also, what are your plans for this week schedule wise? What are work commitments? What are personal commitments? Is there anything special going on that I need to be aware of? I've been reading a lot on how habits take away some of the decisions that are made, and how if you get in this process where, in our case, every morning we make up the bed. So that's not a decision that has to be made. That's actually something it's not scheduled. It's just what we do. But
Right.
knowing what each other's schedule is, knowing what we've got planned for the week can help us be in sync so that we're not going, oh, yeah, we have to plan something for Tuesday night because we have friends coming over or something like that. So we're both on the same page.
Yeah, we talk about schedules for cooking. We talk about schedules for pickleball, your work schedule. When are you going to go see your mom and dad? When do you take them to the doctors? I mean, there's all kinds of things here. And babe, we're not a house full of three kids, like
Hmm.
Jason and Caitlin are with Lachlan Beckham and Decker. If you've got kids in the house, I mean, that's another conversation. And by the way, gang, I don't think it would be necessarily a bad idea if if you wanted to hold meetings with kids that are old enough to understand schedules. For those of
Hmm.
you out there that are listening that have a house full of kids or, teenagers, good gosh. I mean, how do you keep track of all that? Again, the whole idea is that you said it in the last one. If we're talking about these things and they become habit, now it's not so we're so much easier on the same page. And
Hmm.
again, it's just kind of knowing what's going on, so we don't wind up going two different directions at the same time.
Right. And we have an unusual challenge in that because of our lifestyle, we only have one vehicle. And can you
Yeah.
imagine if we both committed to something and we need to travel somewhere? Now,
Yeah.
we're on the road now for the next 25 days. So our schedule is also wrapped around events and things that we have to do. And we still, even though we have a set schedule for us, we need to check in with each other about
Yep.
schedule. And one of the things you mentioned that I forgot was we have a cooking schedule.
We do.
When
Yep.
yeah, we can be on the same page tonight. You're responsible for cooking, and here's what we're going to have. So I think it's a great idea to communicate what our schedules and priorities for the week are.
Yeah. You know what just dawned on me too? I put this cleaning schedule on there because I think it's helpful for a couple with a busy household to do that. But we have a
Mhm.
bit of a cleaning schedule in that whenever we have people coming over, Christy does the inside, I do the outside. All right. She takes care of the inside of the house. I do the patio. And for those of you who think, well, wait a minute, the patio, there's a lot to do on the patio. All right.
Mhm.
Trust me.
There's just
Okay. There's not as much as inside, maybe, but there's a lot to do on the patio. So, agenda item number 4. What are our goals for the week? All right. And again, I like this one. Schedule's one thing. That's kind of the tactical day to day. Here's what we're going to be doing. But what do we want to accomplish this week? What do we want to get done in the way of, personal health goals for the week, eating goals for the week? What do we want to accomplish this week? And babe, I always like goal setting because I want to be able to look back on the week and go, hey, we recorded 6 follow-ups to One Night for Oneness this week, or we recorded a couple of podcasts this week, or we worked on a mini course together this week, which, by the way, gang, when we were looking at this content here, babe, I think this would make a great mini course for couples out
right,
there to
right.
use, and we could easily put that together. That would be fun. So, what are your goals for the week? And again, one of the things we're focused on heavily is Team Jacobus. What's our team goals for the week? And
Right.
Recently had a conversation, babe, on making sure that our team Jacobus is in alignment with the Kingdom of God goals for our marriage as well. So,
Right.
what do you think about whenever you think about the goals that we talk about on a weekly basis? What are some of the things that go through your mind?
Well, if I've communicated with you what my goals are, and it's something that I need your support on, like I'm going to try and get my 10,000 steps every day.
Okay.
And we're kind of on a time crunch. we're going to have to coordinate some things together. So if I've told you one of my goals is to close my rings on my Apple Watch or do something like that, then you can help support us. And then I think too, if we're trying to eat healthier or trying not to have as much processed food around, then I think we need to say that that's something we're going to do together, because it does impact both of us. My
Yeah.
goals do sometimes are individual, but might need your support in them and stuff. One of the things, because I'm working with a couple of couples who are trying to lose weight together, is how can I best support you in your goals? How can we both best support each other in lifestyle changes or goals or anything like that? So I think it's important that we share that be willing to share that with each other. So
Yeah. And again, this could be weekly goals, monthly goals, annual goals, things like that. But you're right, babe. If I have a schedule that I'm cooking on Tuesday and Thursday because you've got clients, then I can think about what am I going to cook. All right. I can be a little more intentional about that, particularly if I know that we're both trying to lose weight or eat more vegetables and things like that. So I love this whole conversation here about what are your goals for the week. And then number 5 is how can we best support each other this week? Again, all of this kind of falls in line: schedule, goals, finances. How do we best support each other? How do we get on the same page? And babe, we do this from time to time, and we both do it because we may have had a rough week. And we'll ask the question, what could I have done better this week? I know we had a disagreement about so-and-so. Are we okay with that? Is there something I could have learned from it? This is a really good question. And, I pray every morning, and I know that you're focused on the same thing. Is there something I didn't do this week that made you feel loved, or how can I make you feel more loved this coming week? I mean, I love this whole, how can I support you? How can I make you feel loved question?
right. And I think it's the Gottmans who say, I know it's the Gottmans who say, seek to repair. If there's anything that has been an opportunity for growth or change, what are we doing to make it better? And not just harbor that or hold on to grudges or where you didn't feel a lack of support. How are we
Yeah.
going to repair that problem? So I think this is an important one. And I think it also sets the tone for the upcoming week, because that's one of the purposes of the weekly meetings, is to get on the right foot and to be in sync and communicate things for the following week, as well as a wrap up of the previous week. So.
Yeah. So gang, that's our agenda every week. Is we talk about, how we doing? We talk about finances. We talk about schedules. We talk about goals. We talk about, how can I support you? Is there something I could have done better? How do I make you feel loved? Those are our 5. But again, feel free to add any agenda items to the mix that you want to. If you want to talk budget, if you want to talk about travel, whatever it is, kids, all those kinds of things. And again, you could change the agenda items from one week to the next. But create one that works for you so that you can have this conversation. And there's tons of benefits that come from this. And babe, So start with prayer, end with prayer. I forgot this slide was in there. Again, we're going to make that habit for the 2 of us. So that's important. But tons of benefits for this, babe. Why should we have weekly meetings?
Well, as we've said all along, it helps to improve our communication, not just about what's going on with us during the week and the topics that we just talked about, but developing the skills of asking for what you want, feel, and need, as well as listening with the intent for the other person. Listen to be a safe place to share things. So I do think it helps to improve communication. It can help with conflict resolution and maybe even prevention, because we're openly communicating about what's going on. And as we've said, the shared goals and planning help us to be on the same page and be in sync. I oftentimes ask my couples to spend 30 minutes a day in talking about things other than the 3 Ps: priorities, parenting, and problems. And sharing goals can be a great way, and planning for that can be a great way to be in communication and conversation about that. And then the one that we say a lot is financial transparency. So we're on the same page about what our goals financially are for the week.
Yeah. I like that conflict resolution, but I really like conflict prevention. I think one of the benefits of all this is that we can make sure we don't get on the wrong page
Mm-hmm.
by talking about things and heading things off ahead of time. I think for a couple that may be, in conflict a bit and everything, this could be a great tool for preventing conflict by having conversations when you're not angry or not in the middle of something popping up, but doing it whenever you're having a weekly meeting. I love that. So, and so the other 5 here are, one, just emotionally supporting each other, taking the time, scheduling it, setting it aside, making it important. That says, hey, you matter to me. We support each other. Like we said, the transparency increases trust. The willingness to discuss creates trust. Tackling difficult situations creates more trust. And again, more problem-solving skills because we're doing it in advance. But I really like these last 2 here, is that it strengthens our connection. And I think that's one of the things you and I have seen by doing it, is that by sitting down and have these conversations, we strengthen Team Jacobus. Team Jacobus gets better. Our connection gets better. And at the end of the day, it's quality time for us. We do have the benefit of sitting out on our patio and staring out over a beautiful lake of peace, as I like to call it. We have an advantage there, but it is quality time for a couple. And for a couple that is running 90 miles an hour with kids, this 15 minutes that you take, 30 minutes that you take on a Sunday evening or whatever time you pick, that's when we do ours, that can be quality time. And so I just think, babe, all of these are strong benefits. And again, gang, we really, really encourage you to start having a weekly meeting, certain time, set it aside, start and end with prayer, and then put it together agenda that works for you. And babe, I think they'll see all of these benefits and even more that we haven't even listed here.
And you brought up a really good subject. We do it Sunday evening at 7 p.m. on the patio. It's called Patio Planning Meeting. And one of the reasons why we chose Sunday evening is, we said, it kind of wraps up the previous week and we kind of can just evaluate how that went, but it also sets us up for the next week. And one of the things we would strongly encourage people to do is to make a time, place, space for those meetings. The other thing is that's interesting about the habits that I'm checking out and reading about is, one of the things that it says to do is to decide your clothes for the week. Now, I don't know that I necessarily do that, but that'll save a lot of challenges for the week ahead for individuals and those with children, to make sure that they have, clothes laid out for the day ahead or the week ahead. So I think that's another.
I hadn't thought about that. But anything that you do that helps you plan and everything, I think is good stuff. So again, a couple things here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see I've got the like, subscribe, and share button going on there. Do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done it already, and share it with somebody. We'd really appreciate that. We're trying to grow our YouTube channel, trying to reach more people. At the end of the day, our goal is to help you and as many people as we can experience the marriage that you dreamed of when you said I do. So we'd appreciate you liking, sharing, and subscribing to that. Also, go join us on our Facebook page at Your Marriage Matters. We really appreciate that. And babe, anything you want to leave anybody with before we get out of here?
Well, just the reminder that your marriage matters. It might sound mundane, it might sound small to do some of the things that we're talking about, but in the end, when you're building those traditions, those foundations, those habits that lead to a healthier marriage, not only are you impacting yourself and your partner, but you impact your family and the community around you. So always want to remind people that what you're doing, while it might sound mundane, it might sound small, it does matter. So the reminder that your marriage matters.
Absolutely. So, gang, you can catch this podcast if you're just listening to us on audio. You can go see the show notes. We'll put all the slides and everything there at yourmarriagematters.com/184. Again, we'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe and share this. We are on the road, and we will be sharing some stuff on our Facebook group from the road. We'll be sharing stuff on our personal pages from the road. We are on a tour of Texas, so God bless Texas. And God bless you guys. We love you. We care about you. We want you to experience the marriage that you dreamed of when you said I do. And so thanks for sharing your time with us. We appreciate it. Babe, I love you. And we're going to Fort Worth today. Stockyards, here we come. All right, gang.
I
Bye
love
for now. Love you.
Bye.